Hi, my name is Bhoomika, and in this chapter we're going to study about the structure of the lungs. So this chapter is basically going to be a background data for the actual physiology of respiration. So let's get started. The structure, the energy which is released from food by a process called respiration, in which oxygen is needed to release this energy efficiently, and carbon dioxide and water are waste products of respiration. So this is the basic definition of the procedure of respiration. And oxygen is absorbed into the body during breathing, of course. CO2 is released from the body, and CO2 and water vapor is lost from the body during breathing. You should know about the internal structure of the lungs. The windpipe, also known as the trachea, it branches into two bronchi which goes to each lung. Cartilage rings are also present in the walls of the windpipe which help it to open however much you twist your neck, and that is the reason why it does not collapse. If it does collapse, then a person may die because no air would go through the tracheal tract. So the bronchi, it splits into smaller and smaller tubes which are known as bronchioles. The bronchioles end in microscopic air sacs, which are the alveoli. These air sacs are lined with mucus and are surrounded by a network of blood capillaries, and these alveoli are basically the site of gaseous exchange. These are small balloon-like structures. Alright, so let's take a look at this diagrammatically. We have the larynx right on top, as you can see, and then we have the trachea. Now you can see the rings of cartilage in the trachea. These are basically C-shaped rings which kind of help in keeping the shape of the trachea in shape, and that is how a person does not collapse if in case he's not able to breathe. So we have the right lung here and the left lung here. We have the bronchus. That means the trachea, it kind of divides itself and becomes a bronchus which goes into each lungs, and the bronchus in turn branches out and form bronchioles, which are very fine bronchi. Okay, at the end of each bronchiole we have several hundred alveoli, several number of alveoli which are balloon like structures, and because the number of these alveoli is so much and they are so thin walled, the gaseous exchange, it happens very efficiently. We have the pleural membranes here. We have the parietal pleura and the visceral pleura inside. We can also see some muscles which are termed as the intercostal muscles. Now these intercostal muscles, they play a major role in breathing, in inhalation and exhalation. We're going to study deeper into it. We can also see the sternum, which is the breastbone right in the center. You can see the collarbone, the clavicle, and these are the ribs present. You can also see the diaphragm, which is a dome shaped structure right at the bottom of the chest cavity. Okay, moving on, let's talk about the intercostal muscles. I said that the intercostal muscles have a very important role in breathing, so let's look into this. Intercostal muscles are muscle groups that are situated in between the ribs, and they create and move the chest wall. The muscles are broken down into three layers and are primarily used to assist in the breathing process. The three types of layers are external intercostal muscles, internal intercostal muscles, and the innermost intercostal muscles. These muscles are innervated and supplied with blood by the intercostal nerves, intercostal veins, and the intercostal arteries. The other muscles are the scaleni, subcostal, and transversus thoracics. You don't need to study much about these because these are not in course and these don't have major functions here. The external intercostal muscles, they are responsible for forced and quiet inhalation. They raise the ribs and expand the chest cavity and originate from ribs 1 to 11 with the insertion from ribs 2 to 12. So these help, the externals, they help in inhalation, and the internal intercostal muscles, they are responsible for forced exhalation. They depress the ribs, decrease the space in the chest cavity, and they originate from the ribs to 12 with insertion from ribs 1 to 11. The innermost intercostal muscles are the deepest of the intercostal muscles, and they are separated from the internal intercostal muscles by a grouping of nerves and blood vessels known as the neurovascular bundle. Now let's talk about the inhalation and the exhalation process. During inhalation, what happens is the chest cavity as you can see, it is expanding so that the air it can be taken in. So you can see the ribs, they have moved up and out, and as such they help in expanding the chest cavity. The lungs are also inflated, and the diaphragm it is curved downwards. Because the diaphragm is curved downwards, it is kind of increasing the volume of the thoracic area for the air to be accommodated. Now as exhalation happens, the lungs they get deflated, the internal intercostal muscles they kind of push everything in, and the trachea also, you can observe it's present right here, and the chest cavity, basically the thoracic cavity, it is decreasing in volume in order to expel out the air. You can also see the diaphragm here, which has again become dome shaped. So that was about the basic processes involved in breathing, inhalation and exhalation, and the basic structure of lungs. In the next chapter we're going to study about the physiology of respiration, basically concentrating on the gaseous exchange. If you like this chapter, then you can follow me, rate me, review me and recommend this lesson. Thank you.